The virtual tourism aspect of the Yakuza games is one of the franchise's selling points of the series to fans outside Japan and even within it, as the game has been set in many different locales in the land of the rising sun. Just like actual tourism around, the experience differs for people depending on how far their culture is from that of the culture of Japan. Being able to read the signs, being used to the quirks that are cultural anomaly to others, and having a good grasp on how to communicate with the world around them are all advantages that domestic travelers enjoy over their foreign counterparts. But there is another side to that coin, the understanding that comes with the constant ads surrounding them, both IRL and particularly in-game, thanks to the large amounts of product placement present. Throughout the series, there have been a huge amount of product placement in many different forms that totally flew over my head. It's only once I dug deeper into Japan, thanks to YouTube's algorithm, that I realized I knew all these products already from the Yakuza series, and that's when the realization washed over me all at once. Quite honestly, I was shocked at the amount of it all, although it really should have been obvious from the start. As I slowly contemplated its scale, why would there be international brands like Pepsi inside Don Quixote? And why would coffee brands like Coffee Boss be so prevalent if the fictional stamina items were the actual useful gameplay items? The ads for braids aren't just passive either. These product placements are often food, drinks, and sometimes the entire restaurant, which you would know play a key role in healing and recovering aspects of gameplay and have even further benefits in the Dragon Engine games, meaning players are going to be interacting with this kind of stuff a lot. Further research shows that some side stories and even some side characters also paid sponsorship. I think Civet covers this in his Yakuza 2 retrospective. I should stay with this, they have been able to incorporate outside aspects that aren't ads in a similar manner. Like Eri, she's an actress, presenter, and model in Japan that won a casting competition to be the best part of Yakuza 7. Also, the realistic nature of these ads are way more bearable, as they are part of very realistic recreations of Japan's major cities' interesting locales. I guess they seem more naturally integrated to me, but then again, they are products in a different language that I do not have to deal with, and thus have the least product placement effect on me, which I can imagine is not the case for Japanese players. It gets me wondering, will this work in an American game, especially given the international and nature of the products in the English language found in America's most iconic cities? A game very similar to the Yakuza series set in America would be able to spread its commercial propaganda to the majority of the territories it would be sold in. Thus, it's very different to the local nature of Japanese products that, in fact, bodied by the Japanese language these products are wrapped in, greatly limiting their appeal. I think we could see this in the fact that similar games, at least in terms of setting, they would be able to do product placement like the Yakuza series does, such as the GTA franchise, opt for satire of major brands instead. Although I'd be remiss to not state how the business work with game developers and how developers deal with the environment they are imitating differs dramatically across these different regions and cultures. Americans' first instincts would be satire rather than immersion, and vice versa for the Japanese. Generally, it isn't a hard and fast rule, of course. I do wonder about a middle ground though. How would a Yakuza-like game set in, say, South Africa, for example, work? It would have that international aspect of its English language immersion of the locales, but it would have the possibility of local products flying under the radar for its international players, just like it is for the non-Japanese players immersed in the Yakuza series. It could be a legitimate source of financing given an intention to sell big overseas. Place it with a bunch of product placements, but avoid the backlash from two different directions. One, players outside the countries do not know the products and thus aren't aware of the advertisement. And two, local players could see local products as carriers of national identity and inspire sort of local pride that is being spread around the world. I have to say, seeing it this way did open a new perspective to me. While I certainly wouldn't want to be advertised too heavily in my favorite game set in my country and maybe even my city, avoiding huge international corporations while promoting my local culture through the products I would consume about every day to an international audience that enjoys aspects of my local culture would inspire a bit of pride, as shallow as that might be. I must say it is a weird position to see so much product placement that involves in these games, knowing that they don't have any effect on me. As if they ever did, that would mean I'm doing a bit of tourism that I have and guess I still want to do. I know I certainly wouldn't like the American equivalent thanks to the international spread of their brands, but I do have to say a South African version wouldn't be too all bad for me, especially if it spreads far and wide across the globe. Then again, we would need something resembling a city as walkable as Kabukicho, and we don't even have that. Well, maybe Cape Town.